If you're a beginner trying to catch your first few seconds freestanding and your attempts look like this, then the clock drill is for you, and this is what we're going to cover today in this video. What's up, everyone? This is Vincent Viss from the Handstand Academy. Today we talk about commitment. At the beginner stage of our journey, we are trying to divorce the wall. Namely, we can do a few drills with the wall when it's time to apply everything you have been diligently working on with the wall to the freestanding area. We see a big gap in our performances. It's very hard to kick up. It's impossible to find balance. Our alignment is all over the shop. All this is very normal. Today, we're going to talk about a drill that allows us to cue our positioning in space. But before we begin, you have to remember that this hiatus between what you do with the wall and what you do for standing is normal at first. And as a beginner, you want to refrain from chasing at all costs the perfection that you may be finding with the wall without the wall, because this is going too fast, too far. For us to be able to catch a handstand freestanding, we first have to be able to commit to being in the right positions freestanding. And for that, we need to know how it feels like to be in the right positions. And only if we are in the right positions can we start balancing. Those, for instance, are quote unquote wrong positions. They cannot exist in the freestanding world. And if you go back to the analogy of the dice that we're rolling, that we were speaking about in one of the previous videos, you want to realize that what's missing here is your capacity to know what a good alignment is. And the fact of the matter is, all of the good alignments will live after the point at which you start feeling that you're falling. And so as a beginner, not only don't we have a good grasp of what the alignments that can be balanced are, but we also have a commitment issue. We don't want to go too far forward where we feel that we may be in danger, and therefore we end up undershooting or underbalancing, staying here, safe, even if with the wall, none of that happens. And so for those two reasons, you want to be patient with yourself. It is not yet time for you to do what you can do with the wall without the wall. It is time for you to learn to commit. And once you have committed far enough in that zone in which you start feeling that you're about to fall, and then you want to start seeing what are the shapes, the alignments, the body positions that could be balanced, and what are those that cannot be balanced. And only at that price, with those two foundations, will you be able to build eventually balance. And at that stage, you become, in my book, an improver. Now, when it comes to commitments, we of course have to practice bailing. So there's a lot of things to be talked about when it comes to bailing. In the Handstand Academy, we have 9 progressions for bailing, but basically you want to develop a very resilient, automated way to get out of the handstand that goes too far. I kick up and my left leg moves too far overshot. I need to know that without a shadow of a doubt, my hand will move and I will bail back down to safety. You'll have time to think about what's supposed to happen here. You have to grease that groove again and again and again until it's absolutely automatic. And only at that price will your nervous system allow you to actually commit into the middle of the room. Once you have started working on your bailing system, also need to confront yourself to the void. Even if you cannot perform a handstand yet, well, you're not asked to perform a handstand yet, you're on your way there. You need to be able to kick up in the middle of the room and still see what it feels like to have no safety net behind you. Of course, you want to be able to do that safely. And again, you want to have a bailing mechanism in place. But today, we will see that even when we know what to do, even if we're still working on automating it more, we don't commit far enough. And we're going to pay attention to our back leg and our front leg. And I want the back leg to be the one you think of, like the leg ticking around a clock. My leg here, as long as it stays before midday, will put me in a position that more likely than not will not be committed far enough where magic happens. And so I can change many other things, but as a beginner, the thing you want to think of is Can I reach further forward with my back leg? Instead of pointing towards 11 or 12 o'clock, where very little happens because I'm not far enough, I'm not falling just yet. I want to try to reach for 1, 2, or even 3 o'clock, depending on how flexible I am. Changing nothing else to the way you position yourself. Try to point towards that time with your back leg. Even if you do not know yet how to balance properly, you will start catching a few seconds here and there. Your air time will become longer and longer. You will feel sturdier and sturdier on your hands. And that's the sign that you're doing things right. And when you do that, you go in the right position and you have a shot at having the right alignments. Those two pillars allow you eventually to balance them. So while you keep working on everything else with the ball, make sure that freestanding, you have those things sorted. And make sure that as a beginner, you pay attention to the position of your legs first and foremost when you kick up, so that your reps are closer and closer to 1 o'clock. Importantly enough, this takes time. Even within one same session, it takes time for our nervous system to allow us to commit past midday. Think of it as an old car that doesn't want to start. You want to give it time. You want to try turning the key a few times until the engine starts. It's the same idea here. You will feel rusty as if you had recoiled into something more defensive, and that's normal. The idea, therefore, is to embrace the fact that your first reps are going to be closer to 10 o'clock and 11 o'clock. And throughout repetitions, bring your body closer and closer to midday and then past midday as you coax yourself into realizing that you are indeed safe if you commit. And that's how we learn to commit more often into the positions we can balance.